Every now and then on Instagram, I see people sharing posts about their Instagram reach and engagement just going down the hill. And when that happens, we also see people giving suggestions of how to increase their engagement or giving some sort of explanation of why the algorithm is changing. But one of the posts that really caught my attention were the ones that suggested that Instagram is now favoring saves and shares over comments and likes. So in this video, I'm going to be looking through my Instagram analytics and seeing every single one of my posts over the last few months and test the claim of whether or not this is true. Do saves really have a larger impact on reach and impressions? If you're curious to find out along with me, then just keep watching. Hi everyone, I'm Gadis of Made by Mutiara and welcome back to my channel. I'm a creative calligrapher and on Instagram, I share all things to do with lettering, art, watercolor, and on my YouTube channel, I want to make videos to share some tips that have helped me with my Instagram growth and also make sense of all of these mysterious Instagram claims. So with the recent release of Instagram Reels back in August, we are seeing many of these types of posts pop up sharing about what could be the reason behind the decrease in maybe engagement or reach. When I'm looking at all of these different types of information, the first thing that comes to mind is how you know. Likes and comments are not appreciated so much. How you know? Where? Since when? How you know that the saves are now the new Instagram like? I'm sure Instagram has never released this kind of information before. So where are they getting all these claims from? And I am actually not the only person who is asking these questions. There have been many comments also wondering the same thing. We have to ask ourselves, where did they get this information from? And if there is some sort of reliable source, then why can't they share it with us for us to make that own deduction? Like, where did Instagram say, like, saves are better than likes? That seems like a pretty major type of information. And since when do comments don't matter? If anything, comments are like my most important form of metric personally. Just because we read something that aligns itself with what we deem as the truth for why things are happening does not necessarily mean that they are the truth. The only credible article that I was able to find that suggests why saves are being more favored by Instagram is by this article from later.com. And the reason they wrote this article is because Instagram announced that they are going to start hiding Instagram likes. But Instagram is just hiding likes from the public view. If you yourself are the owner of the account, you can still privately view your likes in your Instagram insights. But I do understand that maybe saves could be deemed as something that people would view at a later point of time. But this article was written 1 year ago, August of 2019. So why are people making all of these Instagram posts now? The only thing I can rationalize for the reason why all of these posts are coming up and why reach and engagement have been affected in general is because of the release of Instagram Reels. Whenever they introduce a new sort of content into their platform, the algorithm has to adjust itself to see, oh, maybe you like Reels, maybe you don't, and then it will balance out from there. So it does make sense that all the normal types of content are being suppressed a little bit so that Reels have more of like an ability to go through the algorithm testing. But then again, that's just what my point of view is, because what I've been seeing on my platform is many Reels being suggested more than other types of content. And if you look at the explore page, you'll realize that Instagram Reels is the first thing that pops up. And when you scroll down, you'll see that Instagram Reels take up more real estate on that page compared to other type of Instagram posts. I genuinely think that the people who create this post do have good intentions of sharing what they know, but I think if they have a significant audience size, they do have a responsibility of being transparent about where they get their facts and information from. Like this one Instagram user who very clearly stated out with a disclaimer that this is all personal theories, which, you know, we are allowed to have our own opinions and theories, but whether or not it's true, it's up to the user themselves to decide. So one of the posts post here actually did share some sort of metrics and also giving very thorough explanations. I want to see whether the number of saves do influence the overall impressions and reach. So what I decided to do was to go through my own analytics and see that kind of pattern for myself. So my hypothesis statement to test for this video is if posts get the higher number of saves, it should be equivalent to a higher amount of reach and impressions. But I'm also gonna test if maybe comments play a factor or maybe likes play a factor. I don't know. Let's just go and find out together. Okay, so here's what I've done. From the Instagram Creator Studio, I took every single metric from there, the saves, the comments, the likes, as well as the impression and reach, and put it inside a Google Excel sheet. And with all these data points, I created graphs so that I can see which posts did the best for each different metric. Since Instagram Reels were released on 1st of August, I wanted to compare the data of 2 months before the 1st of August and 2 months after. So altogether, I think there's about 89 different, or is it 88? Yeah, there are 88 different sets of data. Some data that was not included were the giveaway posts. So those type of posts were definitely going to have an abnormal number of likes and comments. So I consider them to be like anomalies, so I removed them. And I also did not include IGTV and Instagram Reels. The main reason is because I want to compare the saves and stuff with the impressions and reach, and we don't have that data for IGTV or Instagram Reels. So before I show you my graphs, just a disclaimer, this is my own analysis. You can just have a listen at what my opinion is and of course form your own deductions from there. So as you can see here, I have all of the data sets from June 1st to October 13th. And what I did was to generate a graph to show my reach, which is the number of unique accounts who saw my post, as well as my impressions. So how many times have the post appeared on people's pages. And when I compare these two graphs together, reach and impressions, what you can see is that they behave almost exactly the same. If I have a high number of accounts reach, I will also have a higher number of impressions. So in this case, I'm not going to compare my different metrics with both reach and impressions. I'm just going to focus on Instagram reach. And since there's so many data points to look at, what I'm going to choose to focus on are the top peaks. So you can see here I have a top performing post in July 7th. I have one also October 7th. And what I've realized is that all of these peaks correspond with what my Instagram insights tell me. So the way I'm thinking now is that, okay, so I have to keep in mind these maybe 9 posts and then see, are these 9 posts also performing well in terms of the saves? Is it also performing well in terms of the comments or also with the likes? So let's take a look at comments first. You can see that number 1, it does not look like the graph for the reach. It looks very different. You can see that there's a very big gap from where most of the posts perform compared to the ones that are outstandingly well. You can see that the numbers are relatively not too different from each other. The average number of comments that I get are 99 comments, and I have quite a number of posts performing more than average. If we quickly just take a look at the top posts, you can see that the top one, I think, is this one here, 186 comments with the post on October 8th. But the top performing post for my reach was not October 8th, it was actually October 7th. And if you take a look, it's all the way down here. So that's already like a bell to me that maybe they do have some sort of truth. Maybe comments actually don't really matter. And then the next one we can see here is July 7th. That's my second top performing post. So it does match with the graph for the number of reach. And the next highest one is this one here. June 22nd is not even on the list of the top 9 posts. So I'm seeing a lot of different patterns and different dates that I have not written initially. So I can for sure say that maybe comments do help with engagement, but does it help with giving more reach to your post? I don't know. I have seen many posts getting lots of impressions, lots of reach, but not have many comments. So that's something to take note of as well. Next, we're gonna take a look at the number of likes. This should be interesting. For the number of likes, we can very clearly see there are quite a number of peaks. Let's just try to see and go in order. I think the top one is this one here, June 7th. When it comes to the reach, June 7th was the third performing post, but over here it's number 1, followed by this one here, October 7th. So October 7th is number 1. So that's just a difference of 300 likes. Next one is this one here, July 7th. So July 7th is actually the second top performing post in terms of reach. But the difference with June 7th is almost a difference of 900 likes. So maybe there is some sort of truth when they say that likes don't matter. Because you can see that the pattern doesn't really match up accordingly. And then let's just have a look at this one here. This is September 3rd. September 3rd is number 4, which is also number 4 for the number of likes. And then the next one is number 5 is July 23rd. Ooh, July 23rd is number 6 on the reach. September 18 is number 5. I think this September 18. So you can see here the number of likes for this one is higher than this one. But the reach for this one, September 18th, is higher than this one over here. So we can see that, hey, just because it has more likes does not necessarily mean it gets more reach. That's something to consider. But let's take a look at number of saves. I think this is interesting. I had a peek just now and I was like, so I'm excited to show you what it looks like. There you have it. Firstly, the fact that 2,000 people save one of my posts is just mind-blowing to me. But you can see that saves don't really have much traction for my Instagram posts in general. The average number of saves for my posts is 261. So you can see that this one is 10 times more than the average, and this is the post on June 7th. Do you remember which ranking June 7th has on my list? Number 3. It has 2,000 saves, but in terms of reach, it is only the third performing post over the last 6 months. What do you think that means? Okay, before I conclude, let me just look at the other one. This one here, June 25th. Let me see my list. Can you guess the ranking? June 25th, in terms of reach, is the 7th performing post. But it has the second most saves across all of my posts. So what's the what's the deal? What it seems to me here is that no, saves do not seem to have a factor or does not seem to have any sort of influence, or at least not much influence, on how far of a reach a post has. I mean, theoretically, if I get 1,000 posts, 1,300 posts, that's already around 6 times more than my average. I would think that the reach would be 6 times more than average. Okay, let me see. Okay, so we're gonna take note of June 25th. Okay. Why am I nervous? Okay, so we see the average here is 17,000. Oh no, I need to do maths. I'm very bad at mental sums. It seems like this post that had 6 times more saves than the average only had 2.5 times more reach than average. So this is the part where I'm feeling a bit conflicted. If it had more saves, if saves are like the new super like, then why did it not have a significant number of reach? Especially since it was my second most saved post. Okay, let's take a look at other data points. Okay, so let's take a look at saves. Okay, so this one, cancelled. Alright, let's take a look at this one here. Okay, so October 7th, it has 1,049 saves, much lesser than the other 2 peaks over here, but it is the top performing post with the highest number of reach. But the difference in the number of saves is so huge. They have a difference of about 1,000 saves. How is it possible that something that has twice the number of saves have about the same amount of reach as each other? So if we take a look here, you can see the one that's on October 7th, which has about 1,000 saves, a reach of 66.7k. But the one on June 7th, 62.6k, it even has a lower reach. And let's take a look. This is July 7. July 7 supposed to be the number 2 post, but when it comes to saves, can you see? I can't even see it. There's no significant. You can see it, okay? But you see, it's all the way down here, 766 saves. And when you look across, you can even see that there are other posts here that have much more number of saves. So at this point, if you're not convinced that all of those posts that say that saves are the new super like, clearly that concept doesn't apply to me, because I should be getting more likes and reach and impressions for those posts, but it doesn't seem to be performing proportionately. And I also just want to point out this one here. Okay, so this is August 13 and 15. They have about the same number of saves, okay? So 826, 874. Let's take a look at the reach. Can you see? If you were to zoom in over here, August 13, August 15, one has lower than the other. 13 is lower, right? Oh my gosh, I need to check. Yeah, 13 is lower than 15, but take a look at the account's reach. August 13 has 41.9k, whereas August 15 only have 25.5k. That's a difference of many k. I cannot calculate because you can see by the graph visual numbers confuse you, but from the gap you can see it's a huge difference. So theoretically, once again, if the number of saves should be the same, then shouldn't the reach also be comparable? Okay, last but not least, okay, so we can see that, okay, maybe number of saves really don't matter, number of likes, maybe yes, maybe no. What about maybe considering all of the engagement? Maybe the combination of comments, likes, and saves influence the overall reach and impression of a post. That makes sense, right? Because maybe they take into account all of the different factors of how people see and interact with your posts. So what I did was to compile everything together and then create a graph from there as well. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so let's take a look. The top performing post is June 7th with a total of 5.6 engagement, and that is post number 3, but total engagement is number 1. And then let's take a look at this one here, the second one, a total of 4,000 engagement, but it is the top performing post. And then let's take a look at July 7. July 7 was the second top performing post for reach, so let's take a look at that. It's right over here. Okay, it's third performing, but you can see that it's so distinctly different from this one here. This is supposed to be number 2 for reach, and this is supposed to be number 3 for reach, but look at the difference. It doesn't make sense. I know I'm supposed to be helpful, and I apologize if all of this different information appears to be more confusing than helpful, but I hope you can see here that we don't really know what helps with reach and impressions. To a certain extent, yes, likes, comments, saves, you see how much higher they are, how they do help with your reach and impression, but it is not fair to say that, oh, saves and shares are more important than likes and comments. And if you're wondering, Gadis, where are your shares? Let me just show you over here. I don't have many shares. They're too insignificant for me to say that yes, shares do have a larger impact. So that's the reason why they are not included here. You might have to watch this again and just remember the dates. October 7, July 7, and June 7. For some reason, all these dates that happen on the 7th seem to be my best performing dates. So maybe that means that I need to start posting on the 7th, which is fine because August 7th is my birthday. So sorry, that was weird. But yeah, I hope you can see that there is a reason why I don't really take all of these different advice to heart, because their accounts perform very differently from my accounts, and many different factors come in play when it comes to how well a post performs, from hashtags to the time you post to how well you interact with people. If you see any sort of information giving advice, yes, you can keep it into mind, but once again, don't see it as like, oh, this is the truth, there's nothing else that can be different. Consider that there may be some other reasons to it. Hello everyone, Editing Gadis here. As I was watching through this video, I realized there was something that I did not consider while I was analyzing my insights, and that is the fact that that my amount of followers have definitely increased over time. So maybe that could be the reason why the amount of reach is definitely higher towards the, you know, the October analytics. I didn't think of that just now. I mean, when I recorded. So yeah. Anyway, you can see that the lighting in my video has now changed because I really did want to be very thorough when I approach this topic. Let me know down in the comments if maybe your Instagram saves seem to match with the number of reach. Of course, I'm not expecting you to like create all these graphs. This is just for my own personal tracking, but what you can do is to compare your top 9 and then maybe you note down and okay, say that this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then when you take a look at the other metrics, try to see what the rankings are from there. Today's shout out for the video goes to Lavanya. Yay! Thank you so much for leaving a comment down in my last video as well as sharing it on your Insta stories. If you want a shout out in my next video, just leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts about all of these things. Or you can also share this video on your social media and remember to tag me at Made by Mutiara. If you found this video to be enlightening, you can give this a thumbs up. And also, if you have not subscribed, which a certain percentage of you have not subscribed, do subscribe down below and be notified when I upload a new video by clicking on the bell somewhere there. And I also want to say a thank you to everyone who sent me all of the Instagram posts when I asked for them in my Insta stories. Your help really made this video possible. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!